Did you know that doing absolutely nothing to your strawberries in early spring is the #1 reason your summer harvest fails? It sounds crazy, right? We often think nature just takes its course, but today we are talking about the exact spring care routine your strawberries are begging for. I promise that by the end of this video, you will know a simple set of steps that guarantees a bountiful harvest of huge, healthy fruit. But here is a wild thought to start us off. Most people actually overwater their plants early in the season thinking it helps, when it really just drowns the roots. Do you water your strawberries every single day, or do you wait for the soil to dry out completely? Let me know in the comments below, because I bet we are going to start a heavy debate today. Let us rewind a little bit to understand why spring is such a critical time for these plants. Strawberries are tough little perennials. Historically, wild strawberries grew in woodland areas, surviving harsh freezing winters under thick layers of fallen leaves and snow. When the spring sun finally warmed the soil, it was their biological signal to push out fresh green growth and eventually those sweet red berries we all love. But in our modern backyard gardens, they do not have the same natural ecosystem to protect them and wake them up perfectly. Over the years, agricultural experts discovered that human intervention at the exact moment winter turns to spring makes a massive difference. This transition period is when the plant decides how much energy to put into leaves versus fruit. If we step in and guide that energy right now, the results are explosive. So, where do we actually begin with our spring strawberry care? The very first thing your strawberries need is a good, thorough spring cleaning. Imagine waking up in a bed full of old, damp, and moldy blankets. You would want to throw them off immediately, right? Your strawberry plants feel the exact same way after a long, cold winter. During the winter months, the older leaves die off, turn brown, and lay flat against the soil. Many beginner gardeners think these dead leaves act as a nice natural mulch. Let us debunk that myth right now. Leaving those decaying leaves around the crown of your plant is actually a massive mistake. They trap excess moisture and create the absolute perfect breeding ground for fungal diseases and early spring pests. To fix this, you need to gently pull or snip away all the dead brown and diseased foliage. Picture yourself giving the plant a fresh new haircut. You want to clear the space so that the center of the plant, which is called the crown, is completely exposed to the warming sunlight and fresh air. This simple act of cleaning up improves air circulation and drastically reduces the chances of fruit rot later in the season. It tells the plant that winter is officially over and it is time to start growing. By just spending a few minutes clearing away the old debris, you are setting the stage for incredibly healthy fruit development. Now that your plants can finally breathe, let us look down at the earth beneath them. Inspecting and loosening the soil is the next crucial step in your spring routine. Over the winter, heavy snow, rain, and freezing temperatures cause the soil around your strawberries to become tightly compacted. Think of it like a hard, dry sponge that just cannot absorb water anymore. If the soil is too dense, the roots cannot stretch out to find the nutrients they desperately need for a big harvest. Here is a vivid illustration for you. Imagine trying to drink a thick milkshake through a tiny squished straw. That is exactly how your plants feel trying to pull water from compacted earth. To fix this, you want to take a small hand fork or a cultivator and very carefully loosen the top crust of the soil around the plants. But wait, there is a catch. Strawberry roots are surprisingly shallow, so you must be incredibly gentle. Do not dig deep. Just scratch the surface about 1 or maybe 2 inches down. This breaks the hard crust, allowing precious spring rain and oxygen to easily reach the root zone. A common myth is that you need to deeply till the garden bed every single spring. For strawberries, deep tilling will slice right through their life support system. By lightly fluffing the top layer, you encourage rapid root growth without causing any shock or damage to the delicate root structures hidden just below. With the soil nicely aerated, we need to address a hidden danger that ruins countless strawberry harvests every single year. We have to talk about the planting depth and the position of the plant crown. The crown is the thick central part of the strawberry plant where the roots go down and the leaves go up. Winter frosts can cause something called frost heave. This is when the freezing and thawing of the ground literally pushes the strawberry plant up and out of the soil. On the flip side, heavy mulching or heavy rains might have buried the crowns too deeply. Imagine a person standing in a pool of water. If the water is up to their ankles, they are fine. If it is over their nose, they cannot breathe. The strawberry crown must sit exactly at the soil surface. If it is buried too deep, it will quickly rot and die. If it is sitting too high out of the soil, the roots will dry out and snap in the spring wind. Take a moment to walk through your patch and carefully inspect every single plant. If a plant has been pushed up, gently press it back down, or add a little bit of fresh soil around the base to cover the exposed roots. If it is buried, carefully brush the dirt away until the crown is free. Correcting this depth issue in early spring is an absolute game changer. It ensures the plant has a stable foundation to support the heavy weight of the massive berries that are soon to come. Once your crowns are perfectly positioned, it is time to talk about hydration. Giving your strawberries their very first proper spring watering is an important step you cannot ignore. During the transition from winter to spring, the weather can be incredibly unpredictable. Sometimes you get weeks of heavy rain, and other times you get unexpected dry spells accompanied by harsh winds. Many people believe the myth that spring soil is always wet enough on its own. Do not fall for that trap. If the top 2 inches of your soil are completely dry, your strawberries are thirsty. Think of this first watering as a giant cup of morning coffee for your garden. It wakes up the roots and signals the start of the active growing season. But how you water is just as important as when you water. Always aim your watering can or hose directly at the base of the plant, right near the soil level. Try your absolute best to keep the leaves completely dry. Water sitting on fresh young leaves overnight is an open invitation for nasty fungal spores to take hold. A great idea is to water early in the morning. This gives the sun plenty of time to dry up any stray drops of moisture before the cool evening rolls in. Giving them a deep, thorough soak encourages the roots to grow further down into the earth, making the plants far more resilient to the hot, dry summer days that are waiting just around the corner. Now that they have had a good drink, your strawberries are going to be incredibly hungry. Spring fertilization is the absolute secret weapon for a bountiful harvest and healthy fruit. As the soil warms up, the plants start working in overdrive to produce new leaves, flowers, and eventually berries. This takes a massive amount of energy, and the natural soil simply might not have enough fuel left after last year. It is time to feed them. But before you grab any random fertilizer off the shelf, let us bust a major gardening myth. More nitrogen does not equal more berries. If you dump a high nitrogen lawn fertilizer on your strawberries, you will get a giant, beautiful bush of green leaves, but absolutely zero fruit. To get those big, sweet berries, you need a balanced organic fertilizer, or one that is slightly higher in phosphorus and potassium. Picture phosphorus as the building block for strong roots and massive flower blooms, while potassium is the magical ingredient that makes the fruit sweet and juicy. You can use a slow-release granular fertilizer, gently working it into that top layer of soil we loosened earlier. This provides a steady, gentle stream of nutrients over several weeks. Alternatively, a liquid organic feed like fish emulsion works wonders for a quick boost. Just remember to follow the package instructions closely, because overfeeding can burn those delicate shallow roots. While your strawberries are soaking up those fresh nutrients, there is a silent enemy trying to steal their food. We need to tackle early spring weed control before it spirals completely out of hand. Weeds are nature's ultimate survivors. They wake up earlier than almost any other plant and grow at lightning speed. If you ignore them in the spring, they will quickly form a dense jungle around your strawberry plants. Imagine being at a buffet, but a crowd of tall, hungry people pushes in front of you and eats everything before you even get a plate. That is what weeds do to your strawberries. They steal the water, they steal the sunlight, and they steal the expensive fertilizer you just applied. The trick is to get them while they are small. In early spring, the weed roots are still relatively weak, and the soil is usually soft enough to pull them out with zero effort. Spend a few minutes every week just plucking out those tiny invaders. You do not need harsh chemical sprays which can easily drift and damage your berry blossoms. Hand pulling is the safest and most effective method. A common myth is that a few weeds do not hurt anything. But with strawberries, even a small amount of competition can drastically reduce your yield. Keeping the patch completely clear ensures that every single ounce of energy in that soil goes directly into producing your delicious, juicy spring harvest. After completely clearing out the weeds, you want to make sure they never come back. This brings us to the crucial step of applying fresh spring mulch. Mulching is practically a superpower when it comes to growing strawberries. In fact, the word strawberry actually comes from the historic practice of laying straw under the berry plants. Let us paint a picture. Imagine putting a nice, thick, protective blanket over the soil. This blanket does three amazing things. First, it blocks out the sunlight, making it nearly impossible for new weed seeds to sprout. Second, it acts as an insulator, locking in precious moisture so you do not have to water as often during dry spells. And third, it keeps the developing fruit completely off the dirt. Have you ever picked a beautiful red strawberry only to find the bottom half is rotting because it was sitting in wet mud? Mulch solves that problem instantly. Now, let us clear up a common misconception. You should not bury the entire plant in mulch during the spring. Instead, carefully tuck a layer of clean straw, pine needles, or shredded leaves around the base of the plants, right under the leaves. Be very careful to leave the central crown completely exposed to the air. By providing this clean, dry bed for your future berries to rest on, you are practically guaranteeing a clean, disease-free, and picture-perfect harvest. With the plants clean, fed, and mulched, we have to prepare for the inevitable invaders. Early spring pest prevention is a step you simply cannot skip if you want healthy fruit. As the weather warms up, it is not just the plants that wake up. A whole army of bugs, slugs, and snails are waking up hungry, and your fresh strawberry leaves are their favorite breakfast. Slugs, in particular, are the absolute worst enemy of a strawberry gardener. They hide during the day and come out at night to chew giant holes in your leaves and ruin your developing fruit. Picture waking up to find your perfect berries looking like Swiss cheese. It is heartbreaking. A major myth is that you need toxic chemical pesticides to keep these bugs away. The truth is, there are incredibly effective natural methods. One brilliant trick is to set up a simple beer trap. Just sink a shallow dish into the soil near your plants and fill it with cheap beer. The slugs are drawn to the yeast, fall in, and never come out. You can also sprinkle crushed eggshells or diatomaceous earth around the perimeter of your strawberry patch. The sharp edges of these natural materials create a barrier that soft-bodied pests simply cannot cross. Taking these preventative steps right now before you even see a single bug will save your entire crop from being devoured right before it fully ripens. As your plants grow stronger and happier, they are going to try and do something quite sneaky. They will start sending out long green vines called runners. Managing these runners in the spring is an absolutely vital step for a massive harvest. Strawberries naturally want to reproduce and spread out. They do this by shooting out these vines, which eventually root into the ground and create baby plants. It sounds like a great thing, right? Free plants. But here's the problem. Creating a brand new baby plant takes an enormous amount of energy. If your main plant is putting all its energy into growing runners, it has very little energy left to grow large, sweet berries. Imagine trying to run a marathon while carrying a heavy backpack. The plant is exhausted. If your main goal this season is a bountiful harvest of fruit, you must be ruthless. Take a pair of clean, sharp scissors and snip those runners off as soon as you see them forming. Do not pull them, as you might uproot the mother plant. Just snip them right near the base. Some people believe you should always leave the runners to get a bigger patch next year. While that is true for propagation, doing it in early spring will absolutely ruin your current berry crop. By cutting the runners early, you force the plant to channel every drop of its energy into producing the biggest, juiciest flowers and fruits possible. Finally, we arrive at the most nerve-wracking part of spring strawberry care. You have done all the hard work, your plants are healthy, and suddenly they are covered in beautiful white blossoms. But spring weather is notoriously tricky, and late frost protection is the final hurdle you must cross. A sudden overnight freeze is the ultimate silent killer of a strawberry harvest. Those delicate white flowers are the actual future berries. If the temperature drops below freezing for even a few hours, the center of the flower will turn black, and that berry will never grow. It is a devastating sight. Imagine baking a beautiful cake only to drop it on the floor right before you eat it. That is what a late frost does to your harvest. You have to keep a very close eye on the weather forecast. If a frosty night is predicted, you must take immediate action. The best method is to cover your strawberry patch with a floating row cover, a frost blanket, or even old bed sheets before the sun goes down. This traps the heat from the earth and creates a warm little tent over your plants. Do not use plastic tarps directly on the plants, as plastic transfers the cold right through to the leaves. As soon as the sun comes up and the frost melts the next morning, remove the covers so the friendly bees can get in to pollinate those precious flowers. And there you have the ultimate plot twist for your spring garden. The difference between a handful of tiny, tart berries and a massive, overflowing harvest of giant sweet strawberries all comes down to these crucial spring steps. By simply taking a few minutes to clean up dead leaves, gently loosen the soil, fix the planting depth, and provide the right water and food, you are literally changing the destiny of your plants. When you add in early weed control, proper mulching, pest prevention, and protect those beautiful blossoms from late frosts, you create an unstoppable strawberry producing machine. The impact is truly incredible, and you will taste the difference in every single bite. Let us quickly summarize. Clean, feed, protect, and monitor. It is that simple. Thank you so much for watching and spending your time with me today. If you found these tips helpful, please hit that subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Speaking of comments, here's my question for you. Have you ever lost a strawberry harvest to a surprise late spring frost, and what did you do about it? Share your stories down below and let us help each other grow better gardens. Happy gardening, and I will see you in the next video.